What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my MLB Week 6 power rankings. And as you can see, the Athletics are moving up 9 spots after a great week of baseball, while their division foe, Rangers, moved down 7 after a tough week for them. 30 through 26 teams where, unfortunately at this point in the season, it's where we expected them to be. Rockies are starting to figure out how to win again. They won a third of their games last week, going 2-5, taking one from the Braves and the Giants. White Sox actually won a series at home against Houston. Still not good enough to move them up, though, record wise. You have the Pirates, Marlins, and Angels rounding out the bottom feeders here. And biggest things is which one of these teams is going to unload at the deadline. It's already that time. Angels could get rid of Trout, maybe Soler, some other guys. Marlins with Sandy, but Sandy's been struggling this year. Pirates, who knows? White Sox, maybe Robert. Who knows if they'll get rid of him this year? Then the Rockies, probably Brent Doyle, maybe some other few veteran guys that they could get rid of. 21 through 25. I don't think it's panic mode just yet for any of these teams, but they're getting close to that line, especially the Orioles being 13 and 20. They did win against New York at home, then unfortunately lost the series at home to Kansas City, but it's a big week for them this week. They get some teams where they kind of are at this point in the season, especially with the Twins. That's a big series for these two teams this early in the season. And then they get the Angels on the road. If they can win both of those series, the Orioles will be right back in the race. Nationals, tough week at home for them. They get the Guardians and the Cardinals, and the Nationals have showed spurts that they can be a really good team, like winning that series in Cincinnati. But if they can come home and win both those series, then I think we're going to take them more seriously. And the Red Sox at 23 fall 6 spots because, well, Costas is done for the year with his kind of weird injury, how it happened, just running to first, and then land on the bag wrong. But this Red Sox team is very inconsistent regardless. As long as he's going to be done now. So who's going to replicate his production at first and in the lineup? That's a big question mark. And the pitching is going to be great, but the hitting is the big question mark for the Red Sox so far this year. The Twins, they beat those Red Sox. That's why they're ahead of them, staying at 22. Like I said, it's a big week for them, especially at home. 6 games at home where you want to get back up close to 500, if not over 500. This is a week to do so. Then the Cardinals playing some really good baseball and then some really questionable baseball at the same time. They split with Cincinnati, which is good for them. And then they win the series at home against the Mets, which maybe that's going to turn the page, get this Cardinals team in the right direction. They get the Pirates at home, should win that series as well. And then on the road at Washington, should win that series. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cardinals are a game under 500 or even 500 when this week is over. 16 through 20, still the teams that kind of hit the panic button. Is it time, or are we just going to be wild card teams all year? And I think that's going to be more of what it is because the Blue Jays, they're playing some good ball. Brewers, Reds, and the Braves are starting to figure it out. I think all these teams, besides the Rangers right now, are just going to be floating around 500 for the foreseeable future. Blue Jays go on the road for 6. Reds are on the road for 7. Rangers are on the road for 6 after their abysmal week at home. They need to hurry up and turn the page. They fired their hitting coach, which was kind of things to shake it up. Tavares DFA'd him, well, put him on waivers, and then they DFA'd Jake Berger. So I think the Rangers are really going to look to get some new looks and get new guys in this lineup. Maybe that's going to turn the tide for them moving forward. I get that they're only a game under 500, but the Rangers should be playing a little bit better than what they are playing at right now. And we'll see how that pans out for them this week. And I still love the Braves. I think the Braves can easily turn this thing around with how bad they started the season. They're only 2 games under 500. Wouldn't be shocked by this time next week if they're at 500 or above, like about the Cardinals. Um, they can definitely take 3 or 4 against Cincinnati and then sweep the Pirates. So the Braves, it's a big week for them. I think they can do it this week and get over that hump of 500. 11 through 15, Yankees fall out of the top 10, and they lose 2 series to 2 teams worse than them, so that makes sense. Diamondbacks stay put after winning against the Mets on the road and then losing their series in Philly on the road. It's only fair for them. 3-3 is very respectable for 2 top teams. The Rays, they're staying put as well. They beat the Yankees, I get it, but the series sweep at home, you didn't win one game against the Royals after this team was trending in the right direction. Not a good look. And then talk about a good look, though, the Athletics at 14, playing some really good baseball, taking 5 games last week to move them above 500 for, I believe, the first time this year since the beginning of the year. And they return home with 6 games against teams that are in my power rankings ranked higher than them and have better records than them. So the A's, if they want to really hit their stride and let teams know that they're going to be here this year, this is a great week to do so. And the Astros, who would have thought at this point in the season that the A's have a better record than the Astros? They beat Detroit. Maybe that's going to be the way that turns them around. And then they go to Chicago and lose that series against the White Sox. And I think that's very, very questionable. And I think that's what we're going to see for this Astros team this whole year is we don't know what team they're going to get day in and day out. 6 through 10, the Mets, yet again, my number one team in the rankings falls. And I think that's 3 weeks in a row that whoever I've ranked at number one has fallen and had a bad week. And the Mets, they went through it 3-4, beat Washington to start their week, and then they lost 2 straight series to Arizona and St. Louis. But they play Arizona. Maybe you can get revenge on them this week on the road. Then Chicago, the Cubs, they get the Cubs at home. And I think that's going to be a great series this weekend. Mariners keep on winning. They move up the rankings as well, obviously, there. Like I said, they get the Athletics in a very big series this early in the season. Pretty much a battle for the lead in the AL West. Guardians and Royals both out of the AL Central are playing some good baseball, playing catch up to the Tigers. Royals are starting to figure it out after they kind of lost it after they lost to the Tigers. And now they're starting to figure that out again. Then you got the Giants, two game series. Giants lose that on the road to the Padres. You'd hope for a split, but those are big games in the long run. They responded well with a series win against the Rockies, though, at home. So they fall 2 spots, unfortunately. But Royals, I think, could really give the Tigers run for their money this week with a weak schedule this week. The Boston games at home, they're still kind of figuring out, like I said, how they're going to adjust. And all these teams, I think you could put in any specific spot, just depending on kind of where you view these teams. And that honestly goes through 1 through 5. I think 1 through 5 is these teams right now are a little better than those 6 through 10, but the Cubs, I think you can make the argument that they should be at number one because they keep on winning series. They have the head-to-head record this year over the Dodgers, and they're playing really good baseball. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Dodgers are playing really good as well too. I'm sorry, when you got a head-to-head record with the team that's competing over you, I think it's only fair to put the Cubs above them. And now the Padres at 3 kind of go the same thing for the Tigers. The Tigers have the head-to-head over the Padres, but the Padres, what they did last week, 5-0 week, it's pretty hard to not put them above the Tigers, especially because Tigers lost their series in Houston. And then right in between those teams at 4, stays put, are the Phillies. Won 2 series last week, went 4-2 against Arizona and Washington. They're 19-15, currently leading the NL East, and they get the Rays and the Guardians on the road. And I think it's going to be a tough, tough trip for them. I think it's going to be one of those 3-3 weeks if you take it, especially in Cleveland on the weekend. That's a big series for them because they're right around the same record. And the Padres, I think that Yankees series is going to be telling for both teams. If the Padres go in there and really assert dominance, I think they can win that one. Um, should take care of business of the Rockies. Dodgers, yet again, another easy start to the week. They get Miami in Miami. So expect the Dodgers to be probably at least at 26 or 27 wins this time next week. But that's going to be it for my power rankings this week. Check back next week to see where your favorite team ranks. But until next time, the Bench Buddies are out.